Hello, welcome to my studio. For today's video, I chose a street scene using a picture from Pixabay for a reference. So this is kind of an urban sketch practice. Something you would do if you're away on vacation, holiday somewhere, and you wanted to keep a more intimate record of where you've been rather than just taking a photograph. I find sketching is a great way to actually become one with your environment, where you've been, the sounds and the smells, the sights, people passing by, it's all part of it. And it later on, when you look back at these sketches, those kind of feelings will come back to you, because maybe there's an imperfect line somewhere, or a bug lands on your paper and you squish it or something like that, or just little memories like that are always nice. I'm using ink directly onto the paper. It's more immediate. It forces you to notice things before you put them down on the paper, rather than relying on pencil and being able to erase and start over or whatever. It forces you to kind of sit back, look at the subject a couple of times before you make that line. You see the perspective a little bit more. You take note of that. The placement of objects, houses, buildings, lines, anything in the scene, you notice their relationship to other things in the scene, whether it's to get the size of something or the position. And as I go along, I'm slowly filling in the shadows, the dark areas of the shapes. And one reason I like to do this is it reminds me of where I am in the scene. It sounds kind of weird, but if I just did the outlines of everything, so many lines, then you'd look back up maybe once in a while and forget where you are. That's okay when you're looking at a photograph like this in the studio. You can kind of hold your finger there and kind of remember where you are. But if you're out in the field and there's so many things happening around you, and the scene is way bigger than just what you're portraying on the pad, I think it helps me anyway to remember what things are. What I'm drawing at the moment, I see a dark doorway. I look back up at the scene right away and I can see the dark doorway, and I know, okay, that's where I am. I need to do the next window or the next line over. Also lets you breathe, so to speak. I can take a pause now. I can go get a coffee or whatever and come back to the photograph, and I know exactly where I am in it, rather than trying to find the exact lines I'm doing. And the same when you're out. If each section is more or less filled in, not complete, but close to it, then if somebody comes along, talks to you, or whatever, or a cloud comes over, and or even if it starts raining and you have to kind of pause for a bit, you can go back to it easily. Anyway, that's one thought on it anyway. For this sketch, as in my last one, I'm using a small 4x6 sketchbook. It's multimedia. It is small, but it is also very convenient for carrying around if you're on site, if you're walking around and you need something small to do fast sketches in. It's a good size, and you can open it up, and it gives you a landscape area of 8 by 6 inches, which is not bad for most scenes. The only trouble is it does have the crease in the middle, which I can get along with, but some people may not find that comfortable. I do have another pad that I'm using right now that's 8 by 5 inches. So if you open it up and use both sides, it gives you a good long, wide landscape area of 16 inches, and was more than enough. Makes for an interesting spread too if you want to design both your sketchbook pages together and add words and stories, titles. It gives you a good area for that. I've done it in this little book too, but you're more than likely to pick one subject and do that rather than multiple subjects, because you've only got so much space. One thing about the small pages as well is that it is less intimidating. I don't know how many of you out there have suffered from that. You get a new sketchbook or something, or even an older sketchbook you've had for a while. You look at the page, a big blank white sheet, and you're kind of scared to put that first mark down. If it's a smaller space like this, perhaps that would help you a little bit in that way. It also forces you to kind of limit what you're going to put in the drawing, and you have to simplify the scene. When you're sitting there on the street, you don't just see a cropped image as a photograph, you see everything around you. Very distracting. Many things are very distracting, and you need to simplify it and get it down to a certain area, crop it, so to speak, to fit your paper. And as you can see from the reference photo, I'm not going for a perfect copy of what I see in every line and every detail. It's more of a sketch, more of a interpretation of this subject. So the main thing is to have fun when you're drawing. If you don't have fun, it's not really much use doing it, because this is meant to be a relaxing hobby. So if you don't stress over every line, it certainly helps. And also if being sketchy helps you in the event that you have to correct something. Say you don't have to be perfect, but say you're going along with a line in a certain perspective, and you see that you're going off that line. So if the lines are kind of squiggly and sketchy to start with, then it's easy enough just to take a little bit of a detour, a wiggle to get you back on track. So it does help that way, just to stay loose and have fun. And I think pictures turn out better in the end if you actually enjoy doing them. This photograph doesn't have any strong lighting. There aren't any really strong cast shadows because of the time of the day, I suppose, when the photograph was taken. But there are enough shadow areas, and the colors are bright enough to make it an interesting picture, a bright picture. As in life, nothing is perfect. So if you can relax and have fun and not worry about the problems of everyday life, the stresses of everyday life, I used to stop on the way to work as I commuted, sometimes on my scooter, sometimes not. But I'd stop and make a sketch, maybe stop for a coffee and sketch. And it really de-stresses you after going through traffic or whatever and into the city, thinking about what's coming up in work. Just the stresses of everyday life. The last thing you need is for your hobby to be stressful, so it's very important just to take that moment and just breathe and let the lines flow by themselves sometimes. And that's one good thing about art. There are so many different kinds of art. There is no good and there is no bad art. It's all a matter of interpretation and what you like. A lot of people don't draw because they say, well, I can't draw, but everybody can. It's like so many things in life. Why should you be limited by the judgment of others? If something makes you happy or something makes you complete as a person, then there should be no judging by others. Anyway, on that note, thank you for watching. Please subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.